G'day nerds, we are playing Victoria 3. So, we are still working on boosting up the House of Orleans. That's going to be our primary project in the early game. Let's take a look at the Conquest of Algeria, because this is going to be something we're also going to take care of. In 1827, the so-called Fan Affair resulted in a French military blockade of the Divided of Algeria. 3 years later, our troops landed on the shores of Algeria in force, decisively defeating the army of Hussein Dey at the Battle of Staweli. With his defeat, the old Deylik crumbled, but opportunists and pretenders rapidly filled the void it left behind. Our conquest is not yet complete. Until the French banner flies from every Algerian hamlet and every rebel lies broken in the sand, we shall not rest. Vive la France. We'll complete if Oran, Algiers, and Constantine are owned by France or our subjects. If completed, raid events will no longer occur and triggers an event called the Proclamation of Algiers. Will fail if we don't have control of any of this territory, which we do at least a little bit. So, let's get started on that. Let me see. If I try to take Algiers, who's likely to step in? Great Britain might, but I don't think they will. They've got a larger navy than me, but a smaller army. No one else I'm really concerned about. Tunis might step in, but I'd be happy to have a protectorate over Tunis, so I'm not actually worried about that. What if I go after Aita Bas instead? 5.8 infamy, Great Britain will not step in. Okay, not bad. And what about Constantine? Great Britain will not step in. And what about Oran? Great Britain might step in. Do I want to risk a fight with the British right in the early game? That's an interesting question. Are they going after China yet? They are. This is a pretty important situation here. So maybe what I'll do is I'll wait until they're thoroughly... No, you know what? I'm going to go now. I'm going to go right now. We're going to take Algiers. They have chosen not to be conquered. Not a shocker. Let's go ahead and mobilize the Army of Africa. These are still two fronts, so we're going to need a second army here. We'll grab the third corps. Don't need to make this any more complicated than it needs to be. And we'll get started here. I could add a Conquest CB on Oran, but it's not a rush. I don't need to right away. Could take them as a protectorate, but that would also cost me more infamy. So I can wait. I can wait. It's not a rush. Obviously, this has made our cash flow a little bit worse, but that's all right. We got plenty of cash in the gold reserve. Fertilizer and iron shortages are still active. We are now finally working on that at least a little bit. The atmospheric pump engine. Through the widespread introduction of the Atmo pump engine in the wine industry, or pumping wine with our Atmo pump engines, in the mining industry is what I should have read that as, productivity is at an all-time high. When steam first began to pump and wheels go around at so many revolutions per minute, what are called business habits were intended to make the life of man run in harmony with the steam engine, and his movement rival the engine in punctuality. I'm sure we can squeeze a little bit more from these machines. Extra mines throughput, or perhaps there's an even better way. Extra progress on water to boiler. I'm actually going to go with that second one. Keeping out ahead on the tech situation is very good. Nobody is stepping in. Feeling pretty good about that. Hoping to be happy and not in a war with a bunch of other powers. Lost diplomatic ties with Bolivia. It's such a shame, but it is what it is. This railway is taking a long time to get built. Iron frame construction sectors are not the most efficient. Let's go ahead and build up a couple more levels. And I should have used that button that puts them at the top of the queue, but I didn't remember to do that, so, you know, it is what it is. We'll put the iron first. Millet farms we'll put at the bottom of the fertilizer plants. Alright, a lot of people declaring neutrality over here. Feeling pretty good about my decision. So this war is going to be very straightforward. Let's see. We're still making decent progress. Not more progress than the other houses, though, which is a risk. Oh, by the way, I didn't read this, but I should read this. As long as this Divided Monarchist's journal entry is active, we're going to have an increased legitimacy penalty from ideological incompatibility, extra radicals from low legitimacy, reduced loyalists from high legitimacy, and extra political movement activism. So it's very important to get that dealt with within a reasonable time frame. Alright, and we've got a huge iron shortage, actually, which is a shame. 2 arms. I don't think this war is going to necessarily be that big of a deal. I'm going to put the iron mines ahead of one of the fertilizer plants. To plot a coup? Are you jerking my peanuts right now? François-René de Chateaubriand has grown discontent with the French government's institutions. A conspiracy is forming within the Catholic Church to launch a coup amongst the government and establish autocracy. What did you make of François-René's little speech back there? It's a drastic proposal, but hard times call for great men to take charge. Will the people see it that way? They must be made to see it that way. Delightfully devilish. Adds coup to the Journal of France. Coup's progress will advance by 25%. Catholic Church gains coup attempts supported for extra political strength. Or keep a keen eye on François-René de Chateaubriand. Adds coup. Coup's progress will only advance by 10% as opposed to 25%. And Catholic Church gets coup attempt resisted, minus 5% interest group political strength. I'm going to resist that. I don't necessarily want an autocracy here. However, is there a way that I can make the Catholic Church happier? Because they're currently unhappy. What do they want? They would love control over either the health or education systems. They like monarchy just fine. They would love a state religion. They like censorship. They would like a rollback in the rights of women. It's not ideal, this, but it is the best way to get them to STF up about, and stop trying to do a coup. That having been said, this will piss off the intelligentsia, which I don't love. I think we can... Let me see, we need to get them a little happier. What will make them happier? Yeah. I think we might just need to do this for now. This big party is going to probably break up during the next election, but for the moment, I got to make sure I don't wind up putting myself in a situation. So unfortunately, we're going to at least pretend to reduce the rights of women. Heirs of the Grande Armée. The good spirits of French soldiers in our current conflict bring rise to memories of the triumphant armies of Napoleon I. The Bonapartist cause has enjoyed an increase in popularity along the front lines. Stirrings among the people and soldiery alike rumbled through the streets. From the dampest inn corners to the trodden fields, the memory of Napoleon's first decisive victories rouse all. France's grand regiments might again march through Paris at the order of a new Bonaparte. Patronize the soldiers for a good showing, increase the progress of Bonapartists by 5, stronger armed forces. Or this bodes well for the Bonapartist cause, increase the progress of the Bonapartists by 15. I'm going to do the first one. I can get less progress to the Bonapartists that way. And my armed forces are headed up by an Orleanist, which means I am... the Orleanist cause is benefiting from them being stronger. Battles presumably are going well. Ooh, I need to check mobilization methods, actually. Let's do this before okay, I don't have any mobilization methods active. Let's go ahead and activate extra supplies. This is going to make our armies a little bit more costly, but it's worth it. The numbers are a pretty small amount overall. I'm not going to do any of the others right now immediately because I don't think I need it. So this should make the coup stop progressing now that we're doing legal guardianship because the Catholic Church are happier. Yes. Okay. Yes, it's now retreating. And once the coup is defeated, they'll lose a bunch of power. Gold in Guyana. Wonderful. That's really good. We're going to need to build those gold mines. Or no, it's only gold fields. Okay. Jean-François Mocquard endorses Bonapartist cause. Jean-François Mocquard has pledged the petite bourgeoisie in full to the Bonapartist cause. While ambitious, his statements have roused controversy, both within the petite bourgeoisie and without. Jean-François Mocquard, my heart for Bonaparte. An auspicious day arrives for House Bonaparte. Prolific royalist and outspoken pundit for the petite bourgeoisie, Jean-François Mocquard voices support for the House's ascent to Charlemagne's throne. The people of Paris were quick to shout both support and slander for Mocquard's announcement this morning, continued on page 2. He best preserved decorum, 10 extra progress for the Bonapartists, and he becomes more popular. Or what good is reputation if he cannot be spent? 25 progress for the Bonapartists, but the progress for the Bonapartists will decrease by 1 every month. So that's a risk. This is better after 15 months, but this one's better. Well, no, this one also gives him progress. But this one's safer right now. The progress bars are quite low. I'm going to do the second one. So this is going to give them a block of progress, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. General accused of plot. Honoré Charest, a general associated with the armed forces, has been accused of grave disloyalty. Honoré Charest claims this is nothing but a plot by subversive elements to remove a barrier to their rule. He is a moderate, aligned with the armed forces. I assure you, gentlemen, I have no knowledge of any of the actions detailed in these alleged letters of mine. If you must go through my personal effects to exonerate me, I welcome you to. We cannot take chances with the loyalties of our generals. Armed forces will be unhappy. He'll be retired and he'll die. Or this is clearly a false accusation, reduced authority, weaker political strength of officers. How are the armed forces currently feeling with the way France is headed? Interest groups. Armed forces are currently happy. We are getting our élan vital. Interesting. It's offense only, which is pretty neat. I don't love either of these. I don't want to take an authority hit right now. Let me, before we do this, let me throw one more consumption tax back in there, just so that I'm using my authority, and then I'm going to say this is a false accusation. This is going to weaken the armed forces a little bit. Okay, it didn't cost that much. Anyway, hopefully we won't get too much more action on that front. Assault here is going very well. These fronts should consolidate. I might be able to just snag Ita Bas immediately. Yes, alright, so these fronts are 1 now. So, do a conquer state on Ita Bas. Probably no one will step in. If I do a conquer state on Constantine, 15.7, that's going to be too much. So let's snag Ita Bas. We'll just go fast here. Fast and or loose. Tunis, again, likely to step in, but I should have a little bit more juice to get them willing to become a protectorate if I decide to, so it's not that much of a problem. Again, I'm kind of going real fast with these wars because I want to spend as little extra time with a bunch of armies mobilized as possible. Coup attempt fizzles out. The conspiracy against French democracy has lost all momentum amongst the Catholic Church. The plan to institute autocracy has been abandoned. The trouble with you, de Chateaubriand, is that just because you've succeeded in inducing a handful of half-wits to disfigure the Paris scene by going about in black shorts, you think you're someone. You hear them shouting, "Hail, de Chateaubriand," and you imagine it is the voice of the people. That is where you make your bloomer. The voice of the people is saying, "Look at that frightful ass de Chateaubriand swanking about in footer bags. Did you ever in your puff see such a perfect perisher?" Democracy is saved. Bunch of interest groups are happier. Catholic Church is weaker. I'm going to go with that second. Heck, yes. I did it. I take credit. I forgot to do production methods. Let's go with secular admin for our government administration. Same thing with the universities. We'll just go ahead and weaken the Catholic Church a little bit because they're legitimists and we don't want them to be strong. Armed forces are now powerful. That's fun. I'm a little bit pleased to hear that. This should give us extra progress for Orleanisme. 3.9. Excellent. Alright. Algiers is successfully taken. 3.7 for the Legitimists, 2.7 for the Bonapartists. So the Bonapartists are currently ahead of the Orleanists, but the Orleanists are significantly gaining on them. Law debate failed. Legal guardianship has fared poorly in public debates, decreasing enactment success chance by 10%. Again, I don't actually care that much about this. Egypt sides with Itabas. Well, what an interesting situation. I could steal the Hejaz. I don't necessarily want to. I could conquer a state. That would be exciting. I could snag Eritrea. That would give me an in to Ethiopia, which would be really nice. Although it would give them more support protection, which I don't necessarily desire. I don't want to go for the jugular and grab Lower Egypt or anything like that, particularly because I'm trying to save a little bit of infamy here. Although, nobody's going to stop me here in this. They're an unrecognized regional power. Are you saying I can't make them a protectorate? It seems I cannot. I could liberate... I could steal Crete. Actually, that'd be fun. Oh, man, I'm so greedy right now. Let's go with Eritrea. Let's go with Eritrea. That'll give us an in to Ethiopia, and that'll be nice. 5.7 infamy. It will put me over, but hopefully not for too long. So that's going to stop escalation up, but that shouldn't be a problem. It looks like they're going to put more troops in here, so unfortunately we... Oh! Are going to need to mobilize the rest of our armies to put some more forces over there. Fidelity and perjury. Monarchists among the petite bourgeoisie are refusing to swear a loyalty oath to the current government. While ideologically pure, this may undermine their efforts to build political capital in the nation. How can I swear an allegiance to some pretended regime? To do so would be a betrayal of the crown, and grant this twisted caricature of a France a recognition of legitimacy that it does not deserve. No, I say, I shall never serve this bastard regime. The petite bourgeoisie show an admirable commitment to their ideals, increase the progress of the Bonapartists by 10, or realistic compromise will help the cause but upset hardliners. Petite bourgeoisie become weaker, but the progress of the Orleanists will decrease by 1 every month. I absolutely don't want that second one, so I'm going to have to give the Bonapartists 10 progress. French Oran raided. Marauders flying the flag of Mascara have raided our settlement in Oran, slaughtering both the French garrison and several high-profile collaborators. It was a feint, sir. We thought we were chasing a small raiding party, as only some cattle had been reported as stolen, but the moment we entered a ravine, a cacophony of shouts and gunshots erupted. The captain was the first to fall, and everything else went to hell thereafter. From there on, it's a haze of butchery and fire, sir. Rebuild, their day will come. Bunch of penalties for Oran, including extra mortality, reduced migration attraction, reduced wheat fields and livestock ranches throughput, and deteriorating relations with Mascara. Or General Clausel is responsible. Call up a tribunal. Which is the same effects. 50% chance he'll be court-martialed and dismissed for his failures. Jean Clausel is a traditionalist, so I don't particularly have a desire to get rid of him. So we'll just rebuild. Their day will come. Alright, curious. And then I think Escadre du Nord we're going to bring over here. We're going to set them... We'll probably do a naval invasion with them using Second Corps. We're very nearly finished with our railway in the French Low Countries. We're spending a lot of cash. And I think I'm probably just going to land in Lower Egypt, because that's their capital. That's the Egyptian capital, and that's the most sensible place to attack. Our force comparison here seems very good. And we can use Escadre de la Méditerranée to execute a second naval invasion with a smaller force somewhere else, which will be very effective. Probably the Army of Africa. They're only 25, and that should be effective. And we're already building... our private sector is already building up the economy of America. Kind of wish they were building our economy, but, you know, it is what it is. Again, I'm happy with our progress, although Bonapartists are still gaining ground. There's the war started. So let's go ahead and do our naval invasions. Main fleet, capital, and then Army of Africa. We'll have them invade. Let's have them invade Matru. This is a little bit risky, but I think it'll be worth it. A scuffle of houses. Jean de Dieu Soult, a devoted Orleanist, has carried out a series of verbal attacks and accusations of opportunism against the leading Bonapartist cause. I presume you understand your summons today, monsieur. These delays have gone on long enough. Of course, His Majesty's will be done, with the utmost care and alacrity, but surely, given the history of our glorious nation, should it not be His Majesty's interests, in His Majesty's interest for his decrees to be accepted by all? We are not amused by our games, Soult. Urge him to be silent, lest he escalate too far, decrease the progress of the Bonapartists by 15, or a fiery and entertaining display, decrease the progress of the Bonapartists by 25, but Jean de Soult loses some popularity. I'm not going to reduce his popularity because that's giving me progress for the Orleanist cause. I'm simply going to urge him to be silent lest he escalate too far. That's going to reduce the Bonapartists' progress by 15, and that's very comfortable for me from an overall perspective. We got a naval battle happening. I'm handily defeating the Egyptian fleet, and our armies are on their way to Egypt even as we speak. Our reputation is significantly repaired, so that's lovely as well. The art of doing nothing. Though previously opposed to the legal guardianship laws, Germain Chartier has considered the Catholic Church's political position and instead offers support. While speaking with constituents on matters of law, one must first master the art of appearing to do nothing. While you do everything behind whispers and masked men? Indubitably. Welcome their support. A stronger Catholic Church, stronger armed forces, extra enactment chance, or keep a sharp eye, they're up to something. Chartier is reduced in popularity, and only 5% enactment chance. I'm actually going to do the second one. It's going to give me up to 13% enactment chance, but again, I have no strong desire to roll back the rights of women in this here run that we're working on. Cash flow is getting pretty bad, but I'm hoping we'll be able to win this war with reasonable alacrity, and then I'll be able to do as I like money-wise for a little bit. We lost our radical movement. That's great. So that means we're going to have a lot more authority to play with. Or perhaps we already do. That's wonderful. Oh, I'm so pleased. So very pleased. So, I can do a little bit more taxing luxury goods. I will tax luxury clothes. Perhaps I will suppress the Bonapartist movement. Actually, I think that's the right call. So we're going to remove these consumption taxes, and we're going to throw suppression on the Bonapartist movement, and that's going to make them weaker. That's going to be good for our overall situation. An Orleanist army? General Thomas Bugeaud has made numerous statements in support of the Orleanist cause, using his position in the military to spread his beliefs far and wide. My family bled for Napoleon and his grand dreams of Europe under France, and now a new pretender comes to ask me to bleed for the same dream. Not any pretender, General, not any dream either. A throne restored, greater than any republic before or to come, and with you at its head. We will not have it any other way. Our soldiers sing the praises of the Orleanist cause, increase progress of the Orleanists by 15, or the Orleanists will benefit from a consistent advocate. The progress of the Orleanists will increase by 0.5 every month. So again, the second one is better once we're past 2.5 years. How much more of this bar have we got? 3.8. So 3.8 is a, so okay. So about 100 is how much we get in 4 years, and there's 480. So yeah, I think I'm going to do the second one. I'm going to invest in the long term here, and that's going to pay really solid dividends, hopefully. All right, and now Itabas has been conquered. We've got our hold in Egypt. I'm going to bring in our other armies. And hopefully we'll get this war sorted out pretty quickly. I think Egypt will be more than willing to give up Eritrea without any kind of... Hey, where are you going? Where are you going? We're invading Egypt, buddy. Get it together. Stop. Where are you going? Where are you going? Don't you know we're invading Egypt? Oh, they're all over the place. They're all over the place. Okay, Itabas. Beautiful. That gets us Constantine. Law debate failed. Reduced enactment chance for legal guardianship by 10%. When's my next election here? November of 37, so pretty soon. Actually, we should be in an election cycle pretty shortly. Now, how's... Alright, there we go. How's Egypt? They will not accept the loss of Eritrea just yet, but they will very, very soon. Election. Oop. It's... Well, we'll give it some time to sort itself out, and then we'll be able to see what's going on here. So we may hit a setback. We may not. We may snag another advancement event, and that'll be just fine if we do. I'm not at all worried about that situation. The Crusade for Change. The ongoing effort to implement legal guardianship has captured the imagination of the Resistance Party, which has added full-throated support of the new law to as part of its central platform. The country yearns for change. For too long, we have watched the nation suffer. Is it not right to call for upheaval? Is it not right to call for the changes that are long overdue? I tell you now, we must embrace the future. Let me take a quick look at the election. Okay, here we go. So, what do things look like? It looks like the Democratic Alliance, headed up by the industrialists, is likely to get a big chunk of the vote. The Resistance Party is likely to get a big chunk of the vote. The Republican Party, under the intelligentsia, is likely to get the next chunk, and then the Republican Union to get the third. So, the Resistance Party is still going to hold the same three interest groups. It might be better to have the Democratic Alliance in charge. So, bearing that in mind, the Resistance Party are champions of change, 10% momentum to them, and again, that's the Catholic Church, the armed forces, and the petite bourgeoisie, or the people speak and the nation shall listen, extra enactment success chance. I'm going to go with the second one, because I don't necessarily want the Resistance Party to win. If I can get the Democratic Alliance and maybe the Republican Party in charge, that might make for a more legitimate government. We'll see. How long have I been going here? Okay, we are almost at the end of the episode. I think I'll probably go to the end of the year because I want to go to the end of the election, just to see sort of how that changes French politics. Let me see. The landowners are still intending on joining the Resistance Party, which is what it is. Birds of a feather. Germaine Chavetier and François-René de Chateaubriand were spotted in discussions about the upcoming election. Preachers the next day were extolling the virtues of the Resistance Party. The First Estate and the Second Estate hand in hand since the oldest glories of Imperium. A more modern appellation of the Holy Marriage is Hearts and Minds, a glorious leader to capture the hearts, and a magnificent God to occupy their minds. The Catholic Church are beyond our reach, extra momentum to the Resistance Party, or let us hope that they do not decide the election. Significantly less momentum, but stronger clergymen. I'm going to go with the second one. Again, I don't want to throw too much momentum by way of the Resistance Party. And unfortunately, they're now slated to be the front runners in the election, which is a shame. But hopefully that won't be too bad. So, South Wales colonized South Island. Wonderful. We've finally finished our first fertilizer plant, and that's actually made that's obviated our fertilizer shortage here. So, Egypt is now low on war support. We're holding their capital. They would refuse my desire to conquer Eritrea, but only for a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and get some armies low in organization, but I don't think that's going to be that big of an issue. Now they will accept. Alright, and that will finally allow us to... The guardianship is in drafting. That will finally allow us to demobilize our armed forces and get a better sense of where we are financially. Eritrea, we've got a small amount of mild starvation. Ongoing famine. It's only French Kenya, right? No, it's French Guinea. It's not Kenya, it's Guinea. Oh my goodness. French Guinea, where are you? Windward Coast. Guinea, here we go. This is the place I need to be building a frickin' millet farm. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I beefed it. That's okay. It's the absence of beef that's the problem. For whom the bell tolls. The aged François-René de Chateaubriand, leader of the Catholic Church, has unexpectedly expired mid-campaign, robbing the resistance party of a cornerstone politician. The question of his replacement is now on everyone's lips. Unexpected? Bah! The old bag of bones was long overdue to meet his maker. It's about time that party saw some new blood. Go with the popular but inept candidate. He dies and they get some extra momentum. Or the determined but haughty youngster secures the chair. I don't want to give the Resistance Party any more momentum, so I'm going to go with the second one, and we'll see what's going on with him. He is a legitimist still. Alright, Hippolyte Murat. Interesting. Alright. I'm now making solid progress against my competitors in the Divided Monarchists journal entry, so I'm feeling very good about that. Cash flow is doing well. I'm paying a little bit in interests, but only a little bit. In interest, but only just a bit. Making decent progress on pharmaceuticals. I definitely need to build more universities, but I need to build iron mines first because iron mines are what it's going to take to get my finances back on track and continue to increase the size of my construction sector. We're building a lot of railways in America with our private sector here, and that's just fine. Because long term, we want to be a country of industrialists, and we want to be bringing cash flow in from businesses that we own in other countries. That just makes sense. Just makes good, reasonable sense. We're about to pass our election event right here, and after that we'll look at some options for changing up the government. Another success for legal guardianship, and there is the election. So, what can I do here? I can get an even more legitimate government by bringing in just the industrialists. If I bring in the landowners, that will make the Resistance Party actually significantly less legitimate. So I shan't do that. Unfortunately, we have a Bonapartist heading up the Democratic Alliance, which is a shame. I will be able to sway him, but not for a year or so. Or not for a little while. But I gotta remember to do that. That's really the major barrier is me absolutely just forgetting that I'm going to do it. We're still making good progress. I haven't been able to build up that much industrial building levels. I wonder if mines count. They might. They might count, they might not. Belgium. You would like some of my porcelain in exchange for investment rights and trade privileges. I would be delighted to pay a little bit of porcelain for investment rights and trade privileges. I would be so delighted, Belgium. You have no idea how much of a delight it would be. Let's start improving relations with some of our neighbors in Italy. And our neighbors in the north as well. Our friends, our future friends in the Northlands. Do I want to wait until I can convert that guy? I think the answer is yes. I can change up my government without getting any radicals, but I don't wish to at the moment. I'm pretty happy with the structure of the government the way it stands, even though the Resistance Party is still quite large and quite in charge. I didn't get that starting event that's been very common in the current patch that allows me to just throw momentum the way of my favorite party, which is a bit of a shame. Never had the Industrialist Party be this popular before. It's me or them. Hippolyte Murat, leader of the ruling Catholic Church, has had enough of compromising with his coalition partners. He has demanded that either his collaborators follow his orders, the Catholic Church will never approve of their changes. That's what leaders are for, right? I lead, you follow. Sounds rather simple to me. If they want to lead, they could have been leaders themselves, but I guess no one else thought they could. It's my way or the highway. What a ridiculous thing to say. Catholic Church a little salty and he loses popularity. That's good for me because he's a legitimist. Or, very well, the Catholic Church shall be the leading force. Other interest groups in the government unhappy and he becomes more popular. I'm going to do the first one. I will absolutely rob him of his legitimacy, easy peasy. Raising concerns. The Catholic Church have expressed their concerns about government decisions clearly favoring the interests of the industrialists. Choosing is always hard, not because the decision is difficult to make, but because the consequences can be a bit inconvenient. Rumors are spreading like smoke from a factory, staining the clear air of France with a dense and vicious poison. This needs to be addressed. Catholic Church significantly happier. Increase the progress of the legitimists by 10. Industrialists very unhappy. Or they need to accept we can't always please everyone. Decrease the progress of the legitimists by 10. Catholic Church unhappy and weaker. I'm going to do the second one to reduce legitimist progress. I don't really need to reduce legitimist progress, but it's good. It's good policy overall. So I'm currently running tighter and tighter of margins with the Catholic Church right now, which is what it is. How long until I can convert this fella? Oh, no, I can't convert him because he's a Bonapartist. Well, that makes sense. So never mind. I don't need to wait for that because I'm not going to be able to do it. So that means that is all we've got for this episode. I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.